The dark side of Dubai and the mega rich. If you don't know anything about this subject, you're in for a treat.
The city of Dubai is an oasis, an illusion that won't last. It's the epitome of luxury and extravagance. Towering skyscrapers, opulent hotels, the best shopping malls in the world, home to some of the worst people that have ever lived.
True.
But on the surface, Dubai is turning into a global tourism hub. More and more people are going there for holidays, for trips, to experience luxury firsthand. However, beneath the surface is a living hell.
A lot of people are going to Dubai literally just to say that they have been to Dubai. It's absolutely crazy in the modern age because everyone's trying to wear an expensive watch that means that you're mega rich. Drive a car that means you're mega rich. And obviously going to the Dubai where all the rich people are also means that you're mega rich. But at some point these people are going to stop coming. Dubai is, yeah, it's true. It's trying to actually make itself into this tourism hotspot, which is kind of working, but again, it's gonna at some point crumble. Dubai has already failed many of their mega projects, honestly, at this point. Lost countless of billions. And the big thing that obviously is giving Dubai all of this money and stuff is oil. And they are already trying pretty desperately to keep the price of oil as high as possible for every barrel that they are selling. Because when the oil dries up, and if their tourism plan has failed, then they have nothing. Dubai, most likely, as time passes, will literally crumble to dust. And that's going to be one hell of a show.
A crumbling dystopia, led by a handful of wealthy individuals and families. And these are the people behind the scam that is Dubai. And so to understand all the modern issues, the slavery, the human trafficking, the extravagance, and the materialism that permeates Dubai's culture, we need to understand
human trafficking, materialism, and the Dubai parties. In the really expensive Dubai parties, all of the girls there are expensive hookers. Okay, all of them have been brought in, paid 50k from some kind of Instagram account or whatever. It's pretty crazy.
And the people who run this place. You see, Dubai's transformation into a global metropolis can be largely attributed to one man who spent millions trying to find oil in a relatively small pearling and trading port. This was Sheikh Rashid ibn Saeed Al Maktoum, who pretty much ruled Dubai from 1958 until 1990. After years of searching, he struck oil in 1966, and this would change the city forever. In no time, Dubai turned into one of the richest cities in the world. The oil industry allowed Dubai to invest in critical infrastructure, education, and healthcare, laying the foundations for its emergence.
All while being 100% protected by the American army, by the way. Yeah. The American army protected this place. Oh yeah, it was crazy.
From a developing country to one of the most significant players on the world stage. However, Sheikh Rashid recognized the potential for Dubai to evolve into more than just a city that revolved around its oil. And this was a good thing because Dubai actually doesn't have that much oil. So Rashid embarked on a new agenda to modernize the city's infrastructure, including the development of the port of Rashid, the Dubai International Airport, and the construction of modern roads and bridges. Rashid wanted to diversify Dubai's economy beyond its traditional reliance on oil, pearling, and being a tiny trading port. So he encouraged the development of new industries, particularly tourism, finance, and real estate. He wanted Dubai to become the New York of the 21st century. And so he convinced officials to make this a free trade destination. There would be no taxes, and it would be a haven for the ultra-rich. And its location was almost perfect as a trade and business center for both the East and the West. And this diversification proved to be one of the most important things in Dubai's long-term economic growth and stability. And this is when all these skyscrapers started popping up over the city. It didn't matter if anybody was in them, because Dubai's elites realized that they were planning for the future and growth.
I was gonna actually say that. The thing about the Dubai skyscrapers is, by the way, a lot of them are empty. And a lot of them are very much literally used for money laundering. They're expensive. No one really can track you too easily through them. Who buys what, who buys where, and why they buy it. Okay? Because Dubai doesn't actually have to care about a lot of other things that go outside of it itself. And yeah, it's a giant hub for money laundering and black money exchanges. It's crazy, okay? Dubai will crumble one day. It is absolutely inevitable.
Growth was inevitable. It was an incredibly expensive bet and gamble. All the oil money was invested into this, and if it didn't pay off, Dubai would crumble instantly. And it all came at a cost. Money, yes, but even more so the livelihoods of millions. Behind the facade of opulence and luxury, Dubai has become a breeding ground for modern-day slavery.
True!
Slaves shipped in from countries like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Egypt, where the workers are promised high wages in their home countries, intending to support their families. But upon arrival in Dubai, they are coerced into signing contracts for significantly lower wages, a practice that is meant to violate UAE law. The government, however, appears to turn
Who cares about some kind of magical law?
a blind eye to these illegal practices, which is modern-day slavery. And for those who want to escape from the living hell, they can't. Not only can they not afford it, but employers will illegally confiscate their passports. They use the kafala system, a sponsorship system tying a worker's legal status to their employer. In fact, the city of Dubai is filled with these companies that exploit vulnerable individuals. Imagine being excited for an opportunity to help your family who are living in dire poverty, and you move across the world to support them. But then once you get there, despite all you've already done, your paycheck turns to ashes. Your entire salary goes to your food and your accommodation, which your boss claims is super expensive, but usually
Good times. Good times.
it looks like this. Many are even forced into taking on loans from their employers, making the situation dire. It's not unheard of for employers to delay paychecks for months, and when workers strike...
By the way, all of this is classic. Dubai is not actually unique in using this. India still does it. All parts of Africa do it. Some parts of places like Brazil do it. American illegal infrastructure and, you know, legal workplaces do stuff like this. It's pretty much constant. The idea is simple, by the way. You get a worker, you confiscate their passport, or sometimes you don't even need to do that. Just the fact that they're in a place where they know nothing is good enough in a lot of cases. So, you now give them a choice. Either you work for this amount of X money, which is way less than you expected, or now you go outside and you don't know where you are, you have no place to stay, you have nothing. Well, so obviously you do the obvious thing. You agree for the low-paying wages. Well, now your meal ticket comes, your salary comes in, and guess what? You get like 10% of that. Why? Because, well, you need to pay for your lodgings, your food, your whatever. So the money you get is nothing. And the moment something even goes a little bit wrong, money gets deducted from you because whatever happens is an expense that you have to pay for. So now you're in debt. It's called wage slavery for a reason.
protest, they face
and it's beautiful, by the way,
imprisonment due to the illegal status of strikes in the UAE. This all happens while the government of the UAE sits back and calls out slavery. In fact, slavery and people trafficking in the United Arab Emirates can be punished by life imprisonment. That's according to a law passed in 2006, according to a bill approved by a government panel. Of course, the law was written poorly. Currently, there is no minimum wage in Dubai, which is why migrant workers in Dubai earn only $175 a month. That's less than 60 cents an hour. But to Rashid Al Maktoum, it was all worth it.
Obviously.
It didn't last long. In 1990, Sheikh Rashid passed away and was succeeded by Mohammed's eldest brother, Maktoum. But this didn't change the dynamic, and Maktoum continued on the same ideas Sheikh Rashid had. His worry wasn't about the people, and it wasn't about the money either. He was more than just somebody investing millions of his own money to create the city in the desert. When you own half the city, quite literally, you have more influence than the government. In fact, becoming a leader of the UAE for Rashid was simple. Maktoum, with his cunning strategies and unbridled ambition, not only amassed immense wealth, but also strategically positioned himself within the corridors of government. He became an influential figure, shaping policies and decisions that furthered his interests and those of his fellow elites. They were the true rulers of Dubai, hidden behind the veneer of a seemingly progressive and prosperous city.
Everywhere. Again, if you have money and if you own enough things, you just have access to stuff. That's it. That's it.
During his span, Maktoum acted as vice president and prime minister of the UAE and the ruler of Dubai. He owned the place and everybody knew it. If he wanted something to change, he had the power to make it happen. His wealth was a tool, and the legal system provided Maktoum with every piece he needed for...
By the way, United Arab Emirates, if anyone's wondering.
...his masterpiece. As Maktoum and his cohorts gained control of major corporations, their influence seeped into every crevice of the city's legislative framework. which led to his family becoming richer and richer, even though he was pumping billions into the city. The billions he funneled into the city were like a gesture, a testament to his commitment to its prosperity. By 2023, the city no longer really relies on oil as its main earning potential. Oil only accounts for 1% of its earnings. Instead, Rashid and Maktoum have turned a vast desert land into a valuable real estate, the top tourist destination of the world, one that chips and changes according to what a few elites would like in the city. Cold turkey may be great.
Not actually true. There's a lot behind that. So, you know, if someone tells you that, oh, they don't care about oil that much any longer, yeah, lies. Technically true, but extremely lies.
And sandwiches, but there's a better way to break your bad habits. We're not just talking about some weird mind voodoo from your crazy neighbor. We're talking about our sponsor Fume, and they look at the problem in a different way. Not everything in a bad habit is wrong, so instead of to enjoy the premium
cigarettes are giga chad, vaping is for losers.
Today, to accommodate the elites, and justice became a commodity traded in the shadows. The Al Maktoum royal family, the Al Ghura, the Al Fatim, and the Jumeirah family stand above all the others. They're the ones who own all these skyscrapers and landmarks such as the Burj Khalifa, the Palm Jumeirah, and the World Islands. The symbols of Dubai's ambition and its drive to be a global center of tourism and business. But what happens when you have everything you could ever want and you can do whatever you want?
Again, I mean, they have done a lot of impressive megastructures and things, but man, they are not worth it. A lot of these megastructures are not worth it in the long run, and a lot of these megastructures have already failed. What's it called? The line. Yeah, the line that they're planning. That's gonna fail like there's absolutely no tomorrow.
Want to whoever you want. Well, Dubai's leaders are the perfect example of this because for them, they take notes straight from Squid Games. The city's elite, driven by insatiable desires and shielded by immense wealth, engage in
true! That's so true!
illicit activities that defy societal norms and moral boundaries. Sex parties of the vilest nature serve as playgrounds for the elite. These gatherings take
good old camel games, boys, you know what I mean? Again, there's no such thing as a Dubai party without a girl on a camel. Or a lion eating someone. Anyone remember those good old videos where maids were falling out of Dubai skyscrapers because some rich dude thought it's funny? Yeah, well, ain't that something? Reporters getting chopped up into pieces? Hey, good stuff.
Place in palaces and are often hosted by wealthy sheikhs.
I can't wait when this all crumbles down.
They pay models and other influencers insane amounts of money just so they can defecate on them. More often than not.
Actually, oh, I misclicked. Actually, it's pretty cheap. Actually, it's really cheap. When you're a billionaire and you need to just pay someone $50K for that for a week or a month, I mean, who cares?
These influencers aren't even aware of what they're signing up for. They think they just need to please one man, and then they get to experience the lavish lifestyle they've always dreamed of. But instead, their vulnerability becomes a currency. They're exploited and they don't have a way out once they're there. It's forced
You know what? I don't even think that's wrong. If you're this stupid, I mean, you deserve everything that's coming your way. I have absolutely no pity.
Prostitution that these elite families get away with all the time. Drugs too play a prominent role in the debauchery of Dubai's.
Yeah, some of them, by the way, die, if you're wondering. Yeah, some of them just die.
Elite. Exclusive circles pulsate with the illicit exchange of substances. They see this as their way to enjoy life and escape from the reality of who they are, but almost all of this goes undocumented.
Is he talking about the women or the millionaires? Because let me explain a couple of things that people misunderstand about the millionaires and the billionaires and the billionaires, okay? When you have money, you can experience almost everything. And you are experiencing literally everything that money can buy. And if you have an unlimited amount of money, you don't need a long time to experience everything that money can legally buy. It's a relatively short process. And if nothing really catches your attention, if you're getting bored, well, here's a camel. Here's an Instagram model. This is 1 + 1, baby. Not even 2 + 2. You know, try the crazy stuff. Because no one's gonna... What is anyone gonna do against that? These women sign NDAs. These women, again, worst case scenario, they literally just get Minecrafted. And that's pretty much it. And if you're wealthy, you're bored. Like, why not try this? If I was a multimillionaire, I would be literally sacrificing villages in Africa just to see if blood magic's real in case I actually have something. Why, as a multi-billionaire, you would not invest ridiculous sums of money, which are, by the way, not even this big of your total wealth that's this large, into something like that? It costs them nothing. It's a new experience, and they have already experienced everything. Obviously, things like this happen. And all of this can always be upscaled to every country, to every group of people, to everyone. Okay?
The workers who play a part in the process have NDAs, phones and cameras taken away from them, and all the payments are made in crypto. But all of this proves they simply have no care for human life, whether it's a model from across the world, or if it's one of their own rural women. I'm not just talking about a country.
Not even crypto, honestly. You know what's the funniest part? When a woman goes to Dubai, she gets paid like 50k, and she gets paid that 50k in cash, and then she goes to fly out, and in the Dubai, they find the money, and then she goes to prison and gets executed for having that money. It's great. It's a win-win for them. There's no loss, there's nothing, and no one cares. It's hilarious how efficient that system is.
That isn't as advanced when it comes to women's rights. No, in Dubai, they're seen as tokens, opportunities to give their daughters to others for a greater position of power. If not, they're just locked to the side and are expected to stay silent. They don't even have the opportunity to speak out if they have frustrations, which is why it's no surprise domestic abuse is not against the law in Dubai, all while the UAE claims to be a regional leader in women's rights. The country's legal system still allows husbands to physically discipline their wives, something that was confirmed by the UAE Federal Supreme Court in 2010. But he was more than just somebody investing billions of his own money to create the city in the desert, because when you own half the city quite literally, you have more influence than the government, and so becoming a leader of the UAE for Rashid was fairly easy. He even played a major role in the formation of the United Arab Emirates in December 2nd, 1971. That's when 7 emirates came together to create a unified nation that we now know as the UAE. Rashid, with his cunning strategies and unbridled ambition, not only amassed immense wealth, but also strategically positioned himself within the corridors of the government. He became a hugely influential figure in the Middle East, shaping policies and decisions that furthered his interests and those of his fellow elites. They were the true rulers of Dubai, hidden behind the veneer of a seemingly progressive and prosperous city. During his span, Rashid...
I don't know how stupid you need to be to call Dubai progressive. I can't wait until, by the way, some kind of Twitch streamers or, you know, TikTokers decide that they're gonna go to Dubai and they're gonna live stream themselves doing stupid shit, and they literally get beheaded, taken out slightly outside of Dubai, and just because that happens. Like, you know, man, beheading is pretty normal in Dubai for breaking certain laws. I mean, you being a streamer is not gonna save you from the saber.
Acted as vice president and prime minister of the UAE and the ruler of Dubai. He owned the place and everybody...
Or do they use scimitars? I'm not sure. Is it sabers or scimitars what they decapitate with? Who knows? Maybe it's not even any of these.
Knew it. He was the guy behind the scenes. If he wanted to change something, he had the power to make it happen. No laws could stop him doing anything, which led to his family becoming richer and richer, even though he was pumping billions into the city, though he was saving some costs on the production in unethical ways. And we'll get into this soon. In fact, the oil side of things was not much of a thought anymore. In 2023, oil only accounted for 1% of Dubai's total earnings. And so you would think the daughters in this family would be able to live their dream life, since their family has more money.
Again, true, but misleading. Oil still is a very, very, very vital source. It's just the way that they do these things. It's kind of, it takes a while to explain, but again, it's a blatant lie.
Money than you could ever imagine.
But true at the same time.
They're really not happy, and they want out. In fact, they're actually terrified for their life. One of the princesses in particular has tried to get away from her living hell. Sure, this could be an isolated incident. Perhaps she doesn't know what life is like in the real world. And it's easy to think this until you hear of what's really happening behind the scenes in Dubai. This is Princess Latifa, the daughter of the ruler of Dubai, who's tried to escape attempts from her family's control and her subsequent detention for decades. In 2002, at the age of 16, Latifa...
Ungrateful trash. Oh boy. You see? You see why they have rules about these sort of things? Oh man, I can't wait for all of this to collapse.
Tifa made her first attempt at escape, fleeing Dubai to Oman with the help of a Finnish friend. However, she was captured by Indian naval forces and returned to Dubai, where she faced years of confinement and restrictions on her freedom. For the most part, nobody knew about this at all. She barely had
Imagine when India returns things to Dubai. That's crazy.
Any opportunities to make her situation known. So for many years, all she knew was suppression at its finest. She was locked in a villa surrounded by police. She could never go outside to get fresh air, and she apparently had no healthcare either. She felt like a hostage and that her life was not in her hands. And so in 2018, with no other option, Latifa took her chances for a second time. This time on a more daring escape attempt, planning to reach the United States and seek asylum. So she would join forces with Hervé Joubert, a French national and former French spy. Together, they planned to sail across the Indian Ocean to India.
I don't know anything about this, but I'm not gonna lie. With a French spy, man, that you're already asking to just, fail, honestly.
And then fly to the United States. The escape plan initially seemed to be going smoothly. They successfully left Dubai on a yacht and spent several days sailing towards India. However, on March 11th, 2018, just off of the coast of India, the yacht was intercepted by Indian Special Forces and Emirati commandos. Latifa and Joubert were forcibly removed from the yacht and taken back to Dubai. And upon
Surprising, yeah, I know. Wow, what a daring and stupid escape plan,
When I returned to Dubai, Latifa was reportedly detained in a villa and subjected to further restrictions on her freedom. She was denied any access to her family and friends, and her communications were tightly controlled. In 2019, Latifa's story gained international attention after BBC Panorama aired a documentary featuring videos recorded by Latifa prior to her second escape attempt. In the videos, Latifa spoke about her desire for freedom and her deep-seated fear of her father.
So yeah, they caught me at the border basically, and then they found out who I was. They brought me back to Dubai, and my father's right.
She looks insane, I'm not gonna lie. She actually looks off blatantly unhinged.
hand man put me in prison.
No idea, by the way. I don't know the story of this. I completely clueless. This is the first time I hear about this escape thing. But she looks kind of unhinged, I'm not gonna lie. But that's probably just a side effect of being in Dubai.
Under my father's orders, and then his all his CID guys, they put me in prison and they tortured me.
Tortured? Yeah, that doesn't sound true. I mean, if they actually tortured her, she would be visibly maimed. Okay? You're just gonna get hit if you're reality, okay? It's not actually torture. You're just gonna get a beating. It's not the same as torture.
Basically, one guy...
Royalty doesn't get tortured like that, okay? And if they do, she would say, oh, my father tortured me, instead of some rando dude, okay? A rando dude would be actually afraid of doing that because he would know, because if he did anything too much, or maybe if she decides, you know what, now she's gonna be daddy's good girl, then he's dead. Okay? So, that sounds like bull.
He was holding me while the other guy was beating me. And they did that repeatedly. I think the first time they tortured me, I didn't feel any pain because I was in so much shock.
She also alleged that she had been subjected to physical and emotional abuse during her previous confinement. The release of the video sparked international concern about Latifa's well-being and calls for her release. The United Nations...
Yeah, I completely have missed this. I have never heard about this. This is crazy.
Human Rights Committee urged the UAE government to provide...
Crazy not that this thing happens. I mean, this is completely expected in my ballpark of what I expect to happen in places like this. But, you know, the fact that I have not heard about this.
The information about Latifa's whereabouts and conditions of detention. In response to the international scrutiny, the UAE government has maintained that Latifa is safe and well and is receiving all the care she...
2018, yeah, this is not even that old. I thought that maybe this is in the 2000s, but no.
She needs. However, Latifa's family has not allowed her to make any public appearances or communicate freely with her supporters. But most don't buy it and believe she's still being oppressed, all to keep up the image of Dubai, which brings me to the final point. point. The entire city of Dubai is fake. In all its glory of what Dubai is portrayed to be, it is simply as hollow as its heart. I mean, if you compare Dubai to a city it aspires to be like New York, it just doesn't compare. Now, New York obviously has its issues, but at least they're real. New York has a rich history and diverse culture.
New York is an issue.
It evolved organically over centuries. Its skyline, punctuated by landmarks like the Statue of Liberty and the Empire State Building, reflects its growth, struggle, and innovation. The city has been carefully designed and its people have grown to love it so much. In contrast, Dubai turned into the city it is today in just 50 years. There is no history or culture, but is a place that fake influencers who value money above all else seem to love. And it's no
Hey, that looks like a pretty good fake influencer, not gonna lie. Look at that.
Above all else seem to love.
I'm fine
with
no that.
Surprise. The entire city is just an ambitious mega project with its highest value property on the artificial islands, ironically proving how artificial.
The artificial islands have already failed, by the way. I think this is the only thing that works. Everything else has been stopped in construction.
The top of Dubai is. And I mean, the infrastructure of the city hasn't even been planned out properly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When they say infrastructure and I see this, I have so many questions. How the hell does this even function? How? Why? What?
Structure of the city hasn't even been planned out properly. There's awful traffic jams everywhere in Dubai, not to mention the awful sewage and drainage system. Just last month, the city saw its worst flood ever. Something that was barely surprising as the city drainage infrastructure had been criticized for years already. This is why after just 30 minutes of mild rain, the drainage infrastructure fails and roads turn into ponds. Whilst this is a rare occasion, it obviously
I didn't know it's that bad.
Shows the lack of thought behind how Dubai was actually built. Not to mention the fact that this rain is often.
By the way, I was gonna say one thing. If your labor is cheap immigrants for countries that they are really, really desperate for money, and you're making mega projects, your mega projects are bound to have some serious flaws, honestly. It's logical, it makes sense, right? Because do you think people who are getting paid minimum wage and they understand that they're gonna die there are gonna try their best? Hell no! They're gonna not use cement where cement is supposed to be used if it's a place where it's not gonna be checked out. They're not gonna do that. It's gonna be crazy.
Artificial anyway, being completely manufactured just like the Truman Show. And all of this comes from the fact that the soul of the city just doesn't really exist. If we look at what makes New York great, it's not just the buildings. The heartbeat of New
It's fentanyl.
New York is found in its people. There's a dynamic blend of cultures, backgrounds, and stories. The city thrives on its neighborhoods, each with a distinct character and charm. It's a city forged over generations. To them, New York has a profound sense of belonging and shared identity. And New Yorkers share a genuine love for their city, and their attachment goes beyond mere economic considerations. And the same is true for places like London as well, as residents actively participate in the city's cultural, social, and civic.
I'm pretty sure you get put into prison if you're gonna call London great and for London is British, because London is anything but British. England does not belong to the English. If you say that, congratulations, you're getting arrested for hate speech.
Civic life that fosters some sense of belonging and community, even if it is rather limited. But when it comes to the facade of Dubai, there is just no soul or culture. It's just a barren desert luxury prison with nothing to do other than to shop, filled by an underbelly of slaves who are doing everything they can to get out of the place. They don't love the city and they don't even want to be there. And if you ask anyone who's been there, they always say that the soul is missing. And the whole city's skyline is just a testament to how Dubai was built in the first place. It is all manufactured out of one man's ambition for more power.
Okay, honestly, truly, I don't think that even remotely matters. So what? The end is gonna just be a eulogy about, I don't even know what, how soulless Dubai is, and that, you know, if Dubai was built on 200 years of slavery instead of 50, it would have been better. I don't know about that one, Chief. Anyway, that was our boy Moon. Is there no outro screen? Okay, well, anyway, that was Moon. Good stuff. I kind of like this one. Again, people are so shocked always that they hear, like, wow, Dubai is actually like a prison camp. Yeah, it is. How did you not know that previously, sweet cheeks? Anyway, this is Quizzer7. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And let's hope I do not get visited by Dubai anytime soon. Bye-bye.